Hey guys, welcome back to my channel Rewind. That is your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Can you guys please let me know if you can hear me because through the mic, for some reason, I can't really hear myself. So I just need a few thumbs up to let me know if you guys can hear me, all right? Please do that for me before we get started. Normally, I could hear myself pretty good. I only see one person in here, so maybe I won't get that thumbs up that I need, guys. So let me just go on to YouTube real quick and do a test to see if I hear myself. Guys, just give me 1 segundo since we're doing, the Griselda Blanco story. Let's speak a little Spanish, Okay, Zemke, guys. Now, this movie was so good. Okay, it's working. Hey, VKJTV. All right, guys, to make sure you hit that like button, even if you're just sliding through. What's up, JW? And DeMarcus says you can hear me. Thank you so much. Sorry for starting off like that. Now, if this is your first time coming across my channel, thank you so much. Consider subscribing. There's so much. There's over 500 videos for you to pick from to enjoy. So, come on in, come on in. Today, we're talking about the Griselda Blanco story. This movie was on Lifetime, but I watched it on Hulu. And oh my gosh, this movie, so freaking good. I couldn't believe it. I'm talking about like there was no, hold on, guys. There's a lot going on, guys. Hello. All right, sorry guys. My husband is trying to call me, and this is his time where he calls me. So this is really not a good time for me to go live, but I'm sorry, guys. This is real life, And there's something wrong. He has a bad connection. He can't hear me. All right, so yes, top tier. Oh my gosh, yes, the Black Widow. Like we're gonna talk about all of that, guys. Like I'm telling you that everything that this lady was freaking doing in every turn that she was making, I was just like glued to the TV. And it wasn't just her, it was just like everything about the movie was just like ongoing. There were no breaks. It was just a bomb dot freaking com, okay? So anyway, guys, let's get into this review. This is a 2017 film based on the real life story of Griselda Blanco, and it stars Catherine Zeta-Jones. I mean, this lady, I've always thought that she was very beautiful. They did kind of like, make her look a little, I don't want to say less pretty because I think, she was still pretty. But I think it's because of the fact that she started using drugs that, they made her look a little weird, right? Especially under the eyes. Her eyes were red, she looked worn out and stuff. So it was pretty bad. All right. So anyway, like I said, I've always loved her. So now we start, guys. This show starts. I'm sorry, not show. Listen, it was so freaking good. It should have been a daggone show. You know what I'm saying? So it's so good, right? From the beginning. All right. And we're in Medellin. I like how they were saying that in the movie. Medellin. We're in Medellin, Colombia. All right. And we see Griselda as a little girl. And we also see that she's had a hard life from the beginning, guys. All right. Her mom got her out here selling her body from she looked like she's between 8 and 11, And I feel like, sometimes we have girls that they're meant to be short, and I don't know how it goes here, but I'm just going to say this. Maybe she was meant to be short or whatever. So a lot of times they just grow up looking small, and maybe she's 12, maybe she's 13. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, her mom was doing her dirty. Her mom was pimping her out, guys, which was very freaking sad. All right. So when the man it was the guy, I think his name was Fernando, right? So when the man gets what he wants, he tells her that he'll pay her later. So young Griselda goes home to her mom and she tells her mother. Right? She goes home to her mom and tells her mother. She goes home and tells her mom about it. Oh, he said he's gonna give me the money later, right? And her mother said, I told you to always get the money up front. And then she tells Griselda that she needs to act like she enjoys it. Nobody wants to be screwing a corpse. They're saying all this in Spanish, so I'm gonna improvise for y'all as usual. So nobody wants to be screwing a corpse and all of this. And she said, you need to be like more like me. And that's when Griselda was like, I'd rather be dead, you know? And she says, she smacks the taste out of her mouth. Her mother don't say nothing. She smacks the taste out of her mouth, calls her an ungrateful bee, and tells her, don't ever come back. She sends her away. Don't you ever come back. And I mean, when she got smacked, she did look really surprised, but I don't know what her mother could do that could possibly surprise her, because she's whack. She needs to go on the new list that we do for the Mother's Day, the worst mothers, if we do it, because I don't know if we're going to do it anymore. All right. So what I love, though, is that Griselda goes back to Fernando. Okay. Because when she was leaving, putting her clothes back on and everything, she saw that he had a gun in his drawer. And of course, he got money up in that drawer as well, but he was not planning on paying her anything. Okay. And so, she saw where he kept the gat, went back, got it. And he was laying down too, but she tried to be all quiet and everything, but she was not quiet enough. So she wound up making noise, and he got up, but thank God she got the gun first. And he's like, oh, she said, I'm here for the money. I wish I could say it in Spanish like she said it. I should have practiced, guys. She said, I'm here for the money. He said, let's see if you dare. Soon as she said that, bow, okay, sent him down and gave him a few more slugs while he was on the ground. Got his little his little bag that he had hanging over, I think a chair or something like that, I'm not sure. Grabbed the money, I think put the gun in there, and was on her merry way. Okay, like, this little girl knew how to be a survivor from the jump. Next thing you know, guys, she is back. I'm sorry, not back. She winds up finding her way to New York. All right. And now that she's in New York, we see that she's a mother. So we're definitely fast forwarding the time. And I think this is 1972. All right. And we see that she has 3 small sons. She's also a married woman. We find out that she's a petty criminal at this time, and she makes counterfeit passports for Alberto Bravo, okay, and a bunch of other drug dealers as well. They kept her busy, right? But he was the main one, okay, guys. So he always tells her, give me a call, right, if you ever want to make any real money. All right, that's him. Give me a call. And that's her husband in the background watching. He was something else too. That husband, that first husband, he was something else. She was the one, I guess, trying to do whatever she could to give him the money. Sorry, to give him the money, to make money for the family. And he wasn't doing the best. I guess he was getting fired left and right and stuff. So it was, it just wasn't the best situation. And so she was trying to do whatever she could do. And he's like, if you ever want to make some real money, give me a call. Okay, because this is what she's doing, passports, but she's good at it. So she's like, yeah, whatever, hilarious. But then when she goes in the mirror, she gets a freaking idea. And so now she goes and meets up with him. I got the wrong picture first, guys. We're gonna go back to that. Where's the picture with her meeting up with? Okay, I don't have it. I hate when I do that, so it's okay. So I thought I had the picture of her meeting up with this guy here, Alberto, but I don't. Okay, so she meets up with him. She tells him that she has an idea, and she lets him know, listen, I'm not going to be your mule, okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to use pretty women to smuggle your product. So her thing is she sews the small pouches into her bra, her girdle, and the rest in her heels. Okay, so we're going to get back to that in a minute. Okay, so this is a PTSD moment that I, of course, wanted to highlight. All right, this is the day that she kicks her husband out. Okay, because he went upside her head, and look at her mouth. The same blood when she was little, when her mom smacked the taste out of her mouth. It's the same situation right here. So when she goes and she looks into the mirror, she's remembering, even though we don't get a flashback, she's remembering. You got to know that she's remembering this, right? Of that day when her mom smacked her and things of that nature. So this guy got off good. All right. He got away amazing compared to the other dudes. All right. So he was one of the lucky ones, even though that day he wasn't about to be very lucky at all. Okay. What's up, Little Rock? DeMarcus says, do you think the Queen of the South is based off of Griselda Blanco? I really don't know. I think I tried to watch Queen of the South for like an episode or two. It was good, but I didn't keep it up. So you never know. It seemed though that she's more into like helping get it across the border and things like that, the smuggling business, than really, moving the product and stuff like that. Kind of, I feel like the Queen of the South lady, she was on doing some stuff like Pablo Escobar, but I could be freaking wrong. I don't know, guys. So anyway, that's another thing. Once I'm done with school, there's so many shows that I want to watch. All right, so yeah, here it is. She's telling him, "Don't you ever freaking come back." He said first of all, he smacked her, guys, and told her, "Now go in there and get me a drink." Like he couldn't get up and go get his drink himself. I don't know what's wrong with this dude. He must not know her past. She probably didn't tell him that she caught a body in her, when she was a kid, because he must don't know nothing about this lady, okay? Because he turned his back on her. She came back and said, "Kabow," okay, right? Child, look. That's it. Get the heck up out of here. All right. So now, guys, Griselda, next we see that she was the one who oversaw every detail of the designs for the bras and the girdles, right? And she also teamed up with Pablo Escobar. Okay, now he was also up and coming at the time, just like she was. So they both they were just kind of like neck and neck when it came to the levels in their career, which is very interesting. And we'll talk about that a little later as well. Okay, so now, guys, we also you know what else I like, guys? I like when the narrator says Pablo had the coke, but it was Griselda's inventiveness that got it across the border. So I love that. Like look at these little pouches, like they're using the small pouches to, like I said, put it in the girdle, put it in the bra, put it in the shoe, and so she's over here like, because she's good with a sewing machine, all of that. So she's out here really, like, her ideas are brilliant, Okay, so next, let me see. While Griselda's out working, however time she works, guys, she has a friend. Like we saw her meet this girl, this young blonde chick named Carolina. And we find out that Carolina is also, she helps her, right? She's like her babysitter, basically. But her boys are teenagers now, but they still need overseeing because two of them are freaking bad, okay? So Carolina stays with the boys. Now, during a conversation, we find out that Griselda's sons, they stay in trouble, all right, at school. The two of them, except for the older son. His name is Uber. And, he's a good kid, a good student, just the perfect son, right? Making the honors list and everything. So at this point, I'm just thinking, oh gosh, what is going to happen to Uber? Because he's the golden child at this point, right, guys? I don't know how many of y'all felt that way when y'all was watching this. Something's going to happen to Uber. She's always, like just fawning all over him. Oh, my love, my love. When he leaves, she's like, oh, give me another one. He kissed her on the forehead. Oh, another one, another one. That's her love. And then you got the other kids while she's just hugging him, looking at him in the background, like, whatever. One thing I do like about these kids, these sons of hers, that you never saw any jealousy. I don't know if I was expecting to see that a little bit, but I'm glad that I didn't. But sometimes that's what happens. But I also see that these kids understood the dynamic in this family. Like they understood, look, we're the bad guys. We the ones that's bad. Uber is the one that needs to be protected and all of that. Mama has different plans for him, and he clearly has different plans for his life as well. And they knew what their mom was doing. So, and they wanted in. We'll get there as well. Okay. But like I said, I was thinking about what is going to happen to him. All right. And then we see that her two younger sons, they want to quit school and work for her. I thought we was going to talk about that a little later, but we're going to talk about it now. Okay. They want to work for her. They find this suitcase and they find out where she's keeping the drugs, or, where things are being hidden. And like, Mom, we want to work for you and this and that. And I'm not sure if I have it exactly right, but it was something that they were able to find out with that suitcase. And she's like, where's Uber? Where's Uber? And this is the part that makes me feel like they knew what it was when it came to, oh, he's not here. Don't worry. Like everything's okay. He doesn't know anything, So now, guys, we also see that she marries Alberto, okay, of all people. But I forgot to let you know, because you already saw the movie, though. I forgot to tell you that when she went to go meet up with Alberto and give him the idea about what she was going to do. Like, I'm not going to be your mule, but I got some ideas. She said, I could show you. We could get a hotel and I could show you, only to show you though. And they wound up getting it in and everything. But anyway, it didn't matter because right after that, she kicked her man out. Okay, so now she marries Alberto, guys, right? But we also see that she has something going on with Carolina, all right? And while she's getting it in with Carolina, like she wasn't even with Alberto on their wedding night. She was with Carolina. And so as she's getting it in with Carolina, the DEA busts in on one of Griselda's distribution shops, okay? And because they got wind of like some new player in town who was clearly making too much noise, guys. All right. So one of the guys gets away while the other dude here, whose name is Julio, he gets questioned along with his little girlfriend. And his girlfriend gets scared and she blows the whole cover of the situation, guys. Like she shows where everything is hidden and where it's smuggled through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're just giving the freaking secrets away. My gosh. And he's over there telling her, look, not another word. Okay. And she didn't listen. She didn't really say anything else, but she said aki aki, showing them where the stuff was in her bra and whatever else. Okay. So I'm thinking that Julio's going to hold it down, but he doesn't. He tells the DEA Griselda's name. And, now they're on their way to the house. And the DEA agent, I think his name is DEA Jimmy. I'm going to say Jimmy for now because that's his first name. D. Piero or something like that. Hey, 3 for 10. So he's like, this is, a woman, like, because he's like, tell me his name. He finds out it's not a man, it's a freaking woman. Okay, guys. So now they're on the way to the house. And the guy that gets away was like, hey, you need to run. They got Julio. And that's that. So she hangs up. He's called Griselda and tells her this. She hangs up the phone. Now, that's all she says is now. So she got her whole team, her family, everybody is trained to go to the next safe house. Okay. And this is when we find out that she has safe houses all over the freaking city. All right. But she must have got so spooked that she moved to Miami. Now, before I talk about her move to Miami, guys, we also see that Griselda does not like loose ends, okay, or anything that shows any kind of weakness. Because in this picture right here, we see Alberto saying, oh, he did good, right? Our new guy, he did good. He didn't talk. And Griselda was like, I don't care. Get rid of him. And he's like, he's in jail, like what the heck? He's in jail. She said, get rid of him. And so that was that. No loose ends. I don't give a daggone if he's in jail. If he's in jail and he's got a mouth, he can still talk. Get rid of him. Okay. So like I said, they go to Miami, all right, where the business is booming, which also means that there's lots of competition. Now, for some reason, the competition increased her thirst for blood, guys, and she became infamous for drive-by deletions. All right. This is some folks driving by on a motorcycle. I'm sorry, she didn't become infamous for drive-by deletions as far as just she was an inventor of drive-bys. No, it's motorcycle drive-bys. Like that's what she was infamous for. Motorcycle drive-bys, getting rid of all her competition to the point where like all the cartel wanted her dead. Every cartel in town wanted her gone. Could you imagine? That's crazy. She done made herself famous in the wrong way, but it didn't matter. Okay. Now, because of this, she had to beef up security, and Alberto hires Ruben. And look who Ruben is, guys. I said Rudy. Alberto hires Rudy, who played Ruben on Snowfall. Okay. And honestly, Rudy's character on here, I liked him a lot more than Ruben, of course. Okay. So, guys, this is what happens. All right. And now we also see that, so he is the new, like I said, he is the new, why am I tongue tied right now? He is the new head of security and things of that nature. Like you see the sons in the back. These are her sons now. This is Dixon and what was her other son's name? I don't remember, but anyway, Dixon and the other kid. It's not Uber. Those are her sons. They're in the business now, and that's just that. Okay, so now we also see that Uber, guys, He wants to live the American Pie type of life. He doesn't want anything to do with his mom's business at all. Okay. He wants that all American white life. No offense to anyone, but that's what the freak he wants. Okay. Even when he was dancing with Carolina at the wedding, you saw that this was his type. This is what he likes. Okay. This is what it is. Okay. So now there's also something that he said in front of his mother, which was not good. He says in front of his mom the wrong thing, obviously. He tells her that his girlfriend, Susan, because that was his little girlfriend, Susan, that we saw him hugged up with, says that her dad probably said, all right, quote unquote, probably said that Susan was spending too much time in the spick drug den. All right, now this causes Griselda to become upset, and she gives Rudy his first job: get rid of Susan's father, make him disappear. Okay, and so Rudy wasn't feeling this, guys. He's looking like, I don't think this is the right time to be trying to do no, take care of business for no personal stuff. Like, what is this? He didn't say all of that, but he did say maybe now is not the best time to be doing personal things, right? And she says, no one insults this family. And I was just like, oh, that means this lady just deletes people for nothing, basically. I was just on Willow's channel, and when I told him that this is what I was going to be covering, he was saying, yo, I would have tried not to look attractive the best way possible, okay? Because you can't even, if she wants you, you can't even say no to her, right? Because she'll delete you for that. And then if you do get married to her, she find another way to freaking delete you. Like, this lady was really something else. Okay, so unfortunately, that is exactly what the heck happens. Okay, now I don't like this about her because I feel like she doesn't have any boundaries, guys. Deleting a civilian, I mean, come on. And we're gonna talk more about this no boundary stuff. This lady is ruthless as heck. Okay, now this causes Uber, guys, to turn. All right, because this is him confronting her. Like, you got my girlfriend's dad deleted. Like, I wanted to marry her and all of this. Like, he really tried to choke her out. He tried to go up to her and choke her. I mean, and the security, everybody had to hold him and everything, but she snagged him up too. Like, I don't know who you think you putting your hands on. Okay, so anyway, guys, here's what goes on. So he gets back at his mom by forgetting about school and joining the life. All right. And the thing about the narrator, he says, Uber was good at being good, but he was even better at being bad. Like, look at his hair. Like, it's all slicked back now. Look at the difference. Slicked back hair and all that. He pulling out a gun for no daggone reason. So stupid. Just ridiculous. Hey, Juan. So ridiculous. All right, guys. So next we have let me just make sure that I'm on the right track. Okay, so yeah, to top things off, guys, Alberto is giving issues. Now he's busy screwing other broads instead of keeping a good eye on the business. And Griselda says to Carolina that Alberto is weak and being weak is dangerous, okay? Especially because he does half of his drops in broad daylight. Griselda also tells Carolina that the DEA is all over her because of Alberto. All right. Now, before we move on, this is the conversation that she was having with Carolina. I would like to make this important note that Griselda also snorts coke, okay? And she becomes a full-blown addict. And I didn't like this scene where she got Carolina to do it also. And also, if you guys can see, right at the tip right there, this looks like a casing of a gun. I mean, a bullet, right? It's a shell casing. And she's snorting out of that. Okay, like this lady. All right, so anyway, next, on the way to Medellin, Griselda tells Uber never to trust anyone, not even his own wife, because a woman is like a spider and she will just wrap you all up in her web, get you all caught up in everything like that. Okay, what's up, Big Smooth? Get you all caught up in the web and this and that and the third. Okay, so He's just listening, and he wants to go. She doesn't think he should be going, but he said, I just want to go to learn some things, mama. Okay. But also, Rudy doesn't think that it's a good idea either. All right. Now, around this time, seeing that Rudy doesn't think that it's a good idea, I was thinking to myself, if Rudy don't think it's a good idea, what's about to happen to Albert? I'm sorry, not Alberto. What's about to happen to Uber? Okay. But anyway, guys, nothing happens to Uber yet. All right. So now we see that Griselda has her eyes on her husband Alberto. He's over there dancing and all of this, and she's like, "Oh, there goes my husband." So she goes into the bathroom and finds him screwing one of the chicks in the stall, and she's like, "Hello, darling," right? And he's like, "Oh no, sweetie, it's not what you think." Whatever the heck he called her, and she's like, the girl is like, "Who are you?" And she says, "Oh, me? I'm the crazy bee." And like, "You sure are." And then she said, "You know what? How many times, just like a ballpark figure or whatever," she said, "how many times do you think you screwed him?" And she was like, 6. Why? Like, such a freaking stupid girl. 6. Why? And she said, "Because that's how many times I'm going to shoot you." And she just said, "Bow, bow, 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 bow." I was like, yo, this lady is crazy. Okay. So they get out of there, and I almost didn't get why when she came out of the bathroom, Rudy had to shoot a few of the guys, because it didn't really look like anybody caught wind of what happened in the bathroom. But I guess he took care of them anyway, like, just in case when y'all go in the bathroom and see what's going on, I'm just gonna get rid of y'all on the way out. And there were other guys that was following them on the way out, but we had Uber out there with the little, he had the, I don't want to say what kind of thing it was, but it was spraying. How about that? Okay. It was some type of machinery, and he was giving off them shots. Okay. And he handled his business, and, but she did seem a little bit uncomfortable with Uber doing all that. That's just, well, that's the life you want to live, girl. That's what it is. You didn't have to delete his future father-in-law. Okay. So anyway, guys, now at this point, Griselda is at the height of her career, and so is Pablo Escobar, right? They're both, like I said, they're moving up the chain together, neck and neck. All right. So, he feels like he needs her, so there's no doing anything without her. And they have a pretty close relationship. Now, he tries to tell her that he's a little concerned about her, because he's hearing about all these people that want to get rid of her. So he's like, you need to be careful, this and that. And she's like, she I don't remember exactly what she said, but she doesn't think anything can happen to her, basically, right? And he said to her something like, even cats only have 9 lives. And she's like, "Oh no, a cat? You want to compare me to an animal that licks his own egg?" And he said, "Okay, how about a lion?" And she says, "Yes." Oh, that's what she says. She's basically trying to act like she's invincible. She says something like, they've been trying to kill me for years, but they haven't succeeded, right? So she thinks she's untouchable, guys. All right. So Pablo leaves his one of his guys there, and his name is Dario. Okay. And that he's supposed to be there to be Pablo's eyes and ears. But the next thing you know, Dario and Griselda are getting hot and heavy on the dance floor. And to my shock, this is one of the most shocking things. I don't know why. One of the most shocking next scenes coming up was that I was not expecting them to be doing this. And then boom, we fast forward to her having another baby. I was like, are you serious? I thought she was done having kids. Okay. So we fast forward to that. She done married him and everything. Now, to shock me even more, she names him Michael Corleone, guys. She names this baby Michael Corleone because she is so fascinated with The Godfather that it's clearly not even funny. But to piss me off, she takes a bump at the hospital while holding her baby. Okay. And Uber clearly done lost his mind. He's all the way bad because he's the one who gives it to her. All right. And you see, what's the guys to the left, Dario, who's the father of the baby, like, no, what are you doing? You're breastfeeding, Griselda. And this is what Brillo was talking about how you just can't say no to her. You can't, because what is he really going to do? He wants to protect his newborn child, but the baby mother is crazy. Not the baby mother, wife is crazy. And now she's going to be breastfeeding Coke to his son, but there's nothing he can do about it because she will probably have him deleted if he blinks wrong. All right. So there you have that, guys. All right. Now, while all of this is going on, we got Carolina taking a picture. Carolina didn't really like the fact that she married again and got herself with another man. All right. But she's still there to the end. All right. Now, while everyone is around the new baby, they talk about how they're going to take out Griselda's enemies. All right. Once and for all. That's just that, because she got a lot of them. So once and for all. Right. But once again, guys, Rudy doesn't think this is a good idea with the DEA lurking about in their front freaking yard. But does she care? No. And when he got questions like, so who, y'all want to fill me in? Like, how come I didn't know about this? She said, calm down. This is my idea. And the people that are going to be doing it are her sons. Two of her sons. Was it two of her sons? Two of her sons, and then somebody else she had doing it. I'm like, this lady is just doing the most. Okay. The way she do husbands, she a baby mama. True. Very true. All right. She's insane. Okay. So, guys, here we go. Rudy was not wrong. Okay. We have a shooting at Dadeland Mall. And this was considered a massacre. When it got on the news, it was considered a massacre. And clearly, there were a lot of innocent people that lost their lives as well. And so people wanted justice, because in this area wasn't that type of area where, I guess violence took place and all of that. So they weren't expecting this, and they just wanted somebody to answer to the situation. So yes, once again, this brings heat on Griselda and her people because of this stupid, reckless situation. And guys, I just wanted to capture this picture because I didn't think that this was the safest way to go about this situation. Like, I felt like they were shooting way too close to each other, like the guy in the front and then these other guys on the side. I mean, this guy that's right here to the right in back of him, that's just too close. That's too close. I don't want you in back of me while we're busting shots. I just don't like that. Okay. But anyway, so like I said, it brings more heat on Griselda, like Rudy feared. So now Griselda, guys, she wants to go out and she wants to collect some debts. For some reason, she just felt the need, like, I want to go out. I want to, she didn't want to necessarily party, but she's like, I want to do something different. Who owes me money? So she says, hey, Savannah. So they go find some people, this white couple that owes the money. Now, on their way to this scene, to this site, these people's houses or house, for some reason, Griselda brings up Susan, and that's the ex-girlfriend of Uber. Uber's in the front seat, Rudy is driving, and she says, I'm just saying, I'm looking out for your future. When are you gonna settle down and get married and all this stuff? I want you to find a good girl. Like, what was that girl of yours in high school? Oh yes, Susan. I saw a picture of her in the paper. She married a football player. They have 2 adorable children. I just want to eat them up. And I'm like, why is she doing this? There has to be a reason why she's going to bring this situation up. Okay. And I believe it was to rile him up, to get him to go and do this situation, have the heart to go and just be angry and just delete these folks. Okay. So now they're talking, and he's talking to this white couple, and they're like, no, we don't owe her money. She owes us money. And Rudy is listening. Like, is that true? Like, Rudy is actually listening, because I think he knows that Griselda she's on one. All right. She's off the chain. Remember, there's coke involved. All right. So we're going to get a little bit of the Tony Soprano, the Tony Montana element here, because she's a cokehead. Okay, so going to be a lot of irrational behavior happening. So they're like, is that true? Whatever. So Uber, he don't want to hear none of it. He takes a machete and just sticks it right through this lady's stomach, kills her right then and there in front of her husband. So he's like, oh my, no, why would you do this and that? Uber, please, and everything. And he's like, listen, my kids. So he said, I'm gonna take your head off with the machete. So the guy says, no, please don't do that. My kids are upstairs. I don't want my kids to find me like this. My kids are sleeping. I don't want them to find me like this. He said, Uber says, oh, your kids are there? Your kids are upstairs? Oh, we're going to have to cancel them too. No, he literally said cancel. This is not me trying to, find another word. He said cancel. We're going to have to cancel them too. And he said, no, please don't, this and that and third. And so that's when Rudy says, we have to talk to Griselda about this. We can't, they call her La Madrina. We have to talk to Madrina about this. We can't just do that, So he goes back and talks to his mom, and he lets her know, okay, the kids are there, they're sleeping. And she says, okay, so, and he said, all right, well, like, what do we do about them? They're kids, And she said, what would you do? And she's just basically asking him, right? And so he says, well, they're kids. So, I mean, they're innocent. And so his thing is more so, I don't want to hurt kids. And so she says, do you know what I like about The Godfather Part 2? What I like most about it? And she says, don't ever leave a seed behind. And that is what she basically tells him. She basically tells him that, that whole scene where Vito Corleone had to go back to take care of Don Ciccio. I think that was his name, right? After, he killed Don Ciccio, and deleted his mom, his dad, his brother, right? And was looking for him, which is the reason why Vito Corleone went to America. But what did he do? He came back and got Don Ciccio, got him, right? So she's basically saying, we can't leave no kids behind, no seeds. We don't need these little folks coming back. They grow up, right? I don't like this whole concept because I think it's sad, and you don't want to do that to children. But it's a reality that yes, they can come back and get revenge. Yeah. But I don't agree with it. But the game, right? That's what it is in the game. It's just terrible. And the thing that pisses me off, so after she says what she says to him, he's like, okay, like, I got it. But she didn't bother with him doing it. She gets out now. Remember, she said she wanted to have fun tonight. I want to go out. I wanted this. I wanted that. She dresses up. She's looking all cute and stuff. She gets out the car, because I forgot to let you know that this guy on the floor, it's not a real good picture of him, but he was saying, just delete me with a gun, and Rudy was like, yeah, I got a silencer in the car. So he's like, just delete me with the gun, I don't want my kids to see me with, head off on the floor. So she comes out and she just straight boom, bullet to the head, then goes up in the house, and we hear her let off a few shots to each of the kids. I think 2 shots to one and 2 shots. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. It was just sad, guys. And I just thought, wow, lady, you just had a baby, a newborn baby, and you didn't even have the heart to say, no, leave the kids. I really thought that she probably would have, guys, but she didn't. So we're going to move the freak on from there. All right. Now, I'm not really sure if I'm up to this part yet, but we're going to see. All right. So little Michael Corleone grows up, guys, and he has his first communion. I just want to say that real quick, right? But we also have this scene right here where Dario goes and meets up with Pablo. He goes to Medellin and meets up with her, and meets up with him, with Pablo Escobar, and tells him that he is freaking tired of Griselda. I'm tired of La Madrina. He tells Pablo that he's done his job, right? And there's no controlling her. She thinks she's freaking Al Capone and she needs to be gone. But Pablo tells him to keep doing your job. Okay. It's not possible for you to stop right now. I need you to keep doing your job. And plus, I can't run for Congress without her. All right. So when he leaves, when Dario leaves, Pablo says, not a scratch. I don't want to scratch on her. So he knows he cannot touch Griselda, unfortunately, right? So he is visited by the DEA after this situation. Let me just make sure that I am staying with my notes, guys. He is visited by the DEA, but first he loses it because when he gets home, he sees his son walking around with a gun. He's got like this outfit, like he's dressed up as a cowboy, but he has a real gun, guys. And the older brothers gave it to him. And he's like, "What are you doing? You're giving him a real gun, this and that." And they were just playing a video game, like, ha, 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 ha. Like they didn't care. And so he's like, "Oh, y'all freaking laughing?" So she came downstairs and was saying something because the son was asking for some ice cream. And he was like, "Yeah, you can have ice cream." She said, "No, you can't have ice cream. You had ice cream for like all this week." And so she asked him, "Where were you?" Because he was gone for a few days, and I guess he didn't let her know. He's like, "Well, you make a mess around here so much, somebody got to clean it up." She said, "No, nice try. I have people for that. Where were you?" And he said, "What is this? The paranoid, like Blanco Griselda is paranoid or whatever?" I said, "Blanco Griselda Blanca, she's paranoid. What is this? The paranoid hour?" And so he said, "Go take another bump." He didn't say bump. He said whatever he called it, something bazooka, whatever he said. And so the boys were like, her sons were like, "You better watch your mouth. Like, don't you ever say that again." And he just got pissed off and took out his gun and shot the TV. And they were scared. But after he shot the TV, he walks up to one of the sons and he puts the gun to his head. And he's like, what do you got to say now? Huh? You baby deleter and all of this. Like, so a lot of people are pretty much not happy with the fact that she went and did that to them children. So now she done lost some respect. People done lost some respect for her as well. All right, guys. Because if, like, once again, like I said, this lady has no code. At least Tony Montana had a code, right? I'm not deleting no women and children. They gotta have a code. He said, "A man's gotta have a code." That's what Omar says. A man's gotta have a code. Well, I guess they ain't mean nothing about a woman, did they? Because she ruthless as hell, child. Oh my gosh, hell have no fury. Oh my goodness. So, like I said, after this, guys, this is a premature scene, but I'm gonna get into it. So, after this, a DEA agent, that's Jimmy DePiero, he pays Dario a visit. Okay, because when he puts the gun to one of her son's head, she was like, "Get him out of here, get him out of here." She's holding the little son Michael and everything. "Get him out of here." So they get him out of there, and he's over there in some strip club, and he's just watching this lady do her thing or whatever on the pole. And DEA Jimmy comes and talks to him, trying to get him to flip on Griselda. And he's like, "I'm sorry. What you think? I'm trying to join her other husband? I'm her third husband. I don't want to join the rest of them. Okay. Are you bugging? Are you stupid?" And so, once again, like I said, he's just, he tries to get him to flip, but his last thing that he says to him is that you and your son can start over in Medellin. You could keep your money. We won't come after you, blah, blah, blah. Just flip. And that was that. So now we get to this scene, and we didn't see him make the deal with him or anything like that. We just get to the next scene where Michael gets abducted, guys. And honestly, this was the most emotional scene in this movie. I was like, oh my gosh, I just really felt like crying. But at this time, I'm thinking, Dario is a little too calm for me. Like, did he have something to do with this? Because the way he was loved that little boy, if he didn't have nothing to do with this, he would have been flipping tables. He'd have been doing all kinds of stuff, okay? But he didn't, because he had something to do with it, okay? So, Rudy found some intel, and a girl brings him a picture of Dario and Michael, all happy, right? Michael's on his shoulders, and it's a happy father-son moment, all right? But here's the thing. In this scene right here, he says, because she was so pissed off that she took the gun off the table and pointed it at one of her sons as if she was really about to shoot it. If my memory served me correctly, I could have sworn I heard a click as if she really tried to bust off a shot, and there was just nothing in there. Okay. So he says, you can't do all that. You need to calm down, but I am going to handle the situation, and we're going to turn every stone upside down, this and that and the third, looking for him. And whoever did this, I promise you, they're going to receive 20 shots in the back. Okay. So he leaves and he doesn't return, and they don't find him for 3 weeks. All right. And so this means that the little boy is gone for 3 weeks. And that's when we find out Rudy, who comes in with the intel from some chick with a picture of Dario and Michael, safe and sound. Okay. So of course, what does this mean, guys? Another sad freaking scene. All right. So as he's coming from some type, I don't know if it was a soccer game or something like that, but he's having such a good time with his son, and they caught up with him. They find him as he's driving home, I guess. They just had a good game, and there's a motorcycle that's like riding alongside him, and also like this yellow truck. And he's like, you know what? He pulls over, and the son says, "What's happening, Papa?" And he said, "Don't worry, we're about to play a game." And then he tells him, he said, "You know what? I love you with all my heart and everything. Don't you forget, blah, blah, blah." He said, "But now we're going to play a game. I'm going to leave. You can't come with me, but I need you to close your eyes real tight and cover your ears, okay? And don't look back." And I said, oh gosh, like he's trying to spare his son from seeing him get whacked. All right, guys. And because he knew what was up. Like, he ain't stupid. He knew what was up, and he went out like a G. He got out the car. It's not like he tried to beg for his life or nothing. He got out the car and walked up to them like, here I am, you know? And the son was just really there doing exactly what his dad told him to, and just like this. It was sad to me. It was sad. And I'm just thinking, though, after all of this, after everything that happens, why couldn't he just be with his dad? You know, why couldn't he? He clearly wanted out the life. And to be honest, after that whole meeting with the DEA, he didn't talk. It don't seem like he didn't talk. But I think the DEA agent just gave him an idea, like, you know what? I should just take my son and bounce out of here. But I'm not going to say nothing to this guy, but that's a good idea. I think I'm going to come up with a plan and take my son and run. He knows his son loves ice cream. So that was what he used. He used the ice cream truck to lure his son. The ice cream truck pulled up. The big brother, the oldest, Uber, gave him money, and Uber said to one of the other brothers, go with him. He was like, man, he doesn't even get freedom like that. Let him go out. Let him go and get the ice cream by himself. Next thing you know, boom. I said the wrong sound. They fled off with him. All right. And it probably was the dad. I don't know. That was in the car. So anyway, so now, guys, stuff has hit the fan. It's hitting the fan even more, to the point where we got the husband's gone. We have Dario's gone. Then Carolina dies of a freaking overdose, guys. All right. She dies of an overdose. And now they leave Miami after all of this, because there's nothing left. That's what the who's narrating this story is the Jimmy DePiero. Okay, he's the one narrating the story, because he's basically spent a career after this lady. All right, so after they leave Miami, the DEA tries to bust them, but they, when they get to her mansion, they're already gone. Because who is they using to get all this information? Jerry, the manager at the club. He was the one that was running his freaking mouth, okay? And they should have freaking got him, but I guess they didn't. They must have had him under some type of protection. That's not nice to say. I shouldn't have said they should have got him, because this is a true story, so no. Okay, so now what happens, guys, is Jerry tells them, okay, well, they're in LA. I don't know how Jerry was still knowing all this information, but he was. So he lets the DEA know that they're now in LA. So for whatever reason, they got jurisdiction over there as well, which I don't understand that. He was the arresting officer for all of them, the boys, then Ruben, then her, right? And so I don't know how that goes. If y'all want to tell me in the chat how that works with jurisdiction, but He been chasing us since she was in New York. Everywhere she goes, they're chasing her. New York, Miami, LA, whatever. Okay. So they bust the boys, like I said, then Rudy. And I honestly thought that Rudy would have been smarter enough to leave after that weird phone call, because he was in some type of rinky dink hotel. And the lady at the front desk, when she called him, she was like, yeah, I'm sorry to bother you. He said, I said no phone calls, but she said, I'm sorry to bother you, but there's two guys, the homeless guys, they're looking in your car, or they're scoping out your car or whatever. And he just hung up on her. And meanwhile, he's putting his money in the suitcase, like he's packing up. He has this big old freaking, you know, gun. I was trying to find a different word for it, but whatever. All right. And he has that in his hand, about to put it in the suitcase, but then the DEA busts through the door and they get him. I was like, oh my gosh. All right. But then they also finally get Griselda. All right. And there she is. I don't know what the heck made her go home, because she knew what was what. She knew what was happening. She knew what was coming. And she took one last little bump before they came. They was like, Griselda, just open the door. We know you're here. Just open the door. So she opened the door. And, she said, go ahead, shoot, or whatever. He wasn't thinking about that. So she turned around. She did what she had to do, put her hands behind her back. And that was it. And, Jimmy, he didn't rough her up or anything. He didn't act like he hated her either. He gently led her in cuffs. He put the handcuffs on her, and he just put his arm like this and let her out. He didn't push her or nothing like that. It wasn't nothing crazy, but he still tries to get her to talk by saying that everyone else was flipping. Your sons are flipping, Rudy's flipping, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, and he said, but only way you could, get yourself out of this is if you start talking and you tell me what is what. And she was like, we're talking now, We also find out in that scene that, because this was at the jail, guys, sorry. We also find out in that scene that she had told the DEA agent that her son was going to be taken care of. Michael, he was going to be taken care of by, what's his name? By Dario's sister, who's a teacher and all of this, and she doesn't swear. So she believes that her son, Michael Corleone, will have a good life, right? That he's going to be raised right and everything. But this is sad because, he's going to have trauma. He lost his dad. He lost his mom. Come on, his brothers. Are you freaking kidding me? All right, but before we end this, guys, because we're about to get out of here. I'm about to get out of here. All right, so meanwhile, the DEA agent was trying to act like Rudy was going to flip. Rudy held it down. He still found a way to protect Griselda by starting a sex scandal with the DEA assistant. All right. Now, they had to throw out his testimony because of this. And Griselda only did 10 years in prison when she was supposed to serve so much more. Okay, because it was supposed to be for the drugs and the M's and all kinds of stuff. Okay, but she only did 10 years. All right, and so her and her boys were deported afterwards back to Medellin. And I wasn't really aware that her sons were born there, but they were. Okay, so they got deported back there. But guys, when she gets there, her sons are picked off one by one. And I just found that was really strange. Yes, we know that the cartel wanted her so bad where she was in Miami, and they couldn't get to her. But in Medellin, they got to them very easily. And then she started living her life as this old lady, right? She ended up alone. She lost everything, everyone. The narrator says she started alone and she ended alone. She lost everything that meant anything to her, even though she still had a lot of money, right? But guys, here she go walking down the street. This is her routine. She does things like she's an old lady. Her life is calm now. And she's taking a walk down the street. And here comes some dudes on a motorcycle. And what do? They take her out by way of her own invention, which is motorcycle drive-by deletions. It all came back full circle right around. And yeah, that's pretty much how it ended. And the narrator says she was finally free. Because the thing about it is, even while before this happened, she was still living a life of turmoil and just she was a prison in her own like mind, in her own body and things of that nature. So it was really sad, honestly, but I just feel like this movie was really, really good. Okay. The Boomzog Hwam. Okay. Now I was supposed to have company tonight, but it didn't work out that way. It's okay. But I hope you guys enjoyed me, myself, and I alone, and you enjoyed this review, because this was the first time that I saw this movie. I was very interested in it. I think I told you guys since last week, so here we are. All right. Eric S says not interested in this show, but here to support Miss K. Just here to support Miss K. Thank you so much. Now you say you're not interested, but I do think you need to go take a look at it. It's not a show, it's a movie. One of the most interesting, it's less than 2 hours. So one of the most interesting and entertaining under 2 hours of your life. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. It's something at every turn going on in this movie. There's nothing boring about it, nothing. I'm telling you, go watch it. Okay. Debauchery and delusion. Yes, indeed. But I appreciate you guys for sticking it out, coming up in here with me, and like I said, check it out if you haven't. I think Little Rock said he's here for the spoilers. Little Rock, you probably, honestly, the way I went through this movie, you probably won't have to go watch it. I mean, clearly it's the spoilers, but you should still go watch it because it's good. It's really freaking good. You got to watch everything. You got to see her in action, because right now you're just seeing pictures of this lady. You got to go see this freaking lady in action, and just the way things are with her and her family and all of that stuff. Okay, and that's another thing. She used this blonde wig plenty of times to move around, to make herself, to disguise herself, because everybody knows how La Madrina looks, you know what I'm saying? So this is Uber before he turned, guys. Poor Uber. Oh, and speaking of Uber, I forgot to tell you guys, he is the only one who deleted himself. His brothers got picked off, and I think one brother was at a bar and another brother was somewhere, and he was found floating in the pool. And then when they came for Uber, he jumped off of a balcony. So he was the only one. The narrator says he was the only one smart enough to see it coming. And he took his fate into his own hands. He took matters into his own hands. But, regardless, that's a sad life to live. At the end of the day, when you think about this little girl here and who she became and what she allowed her children to do, how she let them get into their life and all of that stuff, look at how she started out. Her mother didn't show her what a real good mother should be. A real mother and a good mother should be. You let your child get into the same line of work that you're in. That's what she was taught. I'm going to make my daughter sell her body because that's what I do. And we're poor, and that's just that. And so that's what she learned. She learned that since my mom got me into her line of work, it's okay for me to let my kids be in my line of work as well. But with her thing is, when she looked at Uber, she's like, okay, well, Uber, he's gonna go a different route. He's gonna have, it was almost it was almost like he was her Michael Corleone, right? Before she actually had her own little baby boy, naming him Michael Corleone. She saw that Uber had brains and he was smart and he wanted a different life. He wanted to do this and that and the third. So the same way that Vito Corleone didn't want Michael in the life, you got what's the son, Sonny and Fredo, they were in the life, but Michael, he wanted to protect him. He's not the one that's going to be in the life. I feel like that's what she thought when it came to Uber, for sure, right? But because she went and did what she did, she dragged him into it. She pissed him off so bad that he knew that the best revenge was to get into the life. All right. But like I said, she didn't learn how to be a good mom because she wasn't given that example. And that does not mean, let me make this clear. Yes, all her kids are gone except for Michael Corleone. Except for him. He's living with his aunt. Okay. I done lost my own train of thought, guys. Oh, I was gonna say, it does not mean that because your parent didn't show you the way that, the right way that a parent should be, or the way you should treat your children or raise your kids, that doesn't mean you don't have the mental capacity to change that and do better for your kids than what your parents did. That does not mean that. I'm just pointing out the facts here with her situation. Yes, there's people that, oh, I see how my parents did me, or my mom or my dad, and I don't want to do that with my kids. So I'm going to change it up. Right. But I think that doesn't always happen a lot. I feel like most of the times people are in a certain situation and they replicate, you know what I'm saying? They're like I'm sorry, guys, my throat is just, it's getting dry. I just feel like they become a replica of their parents, like they just repeat it. You know what I mean? And that's what she pretty much did. And that's that. She was in the life, her kids was able to be in the life. Now for Michael, she felt like she fell with Uber, so she said, I want it to be different for Michael. I definitely don't want this to happen to my boy. And that's just that, guys. All right. And that was Cocaine Godmother, the Griselda Blanco story. Okie dokie. And everybody, you have a safe night. If you're going to work in the morning, have a good, safe night's sleep and get to work safely. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me once again. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video on the way out, please. And share the video as well. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.